Everybody, and welcome to the stream. Whether you're watching this live or watching this later, my throat is still in pain. I'm a bit sore, so I am going to be talking maybe a bit quieter. But we are going to be talking about the game that of course happened yesterday, the 0-0 draw against Crystal Palace, a good point away from home, and our first clean sheet in a long time. So we'll get into what we always get into. We'll get into, of course, what Daniel Fark had to say after the game. We'll get into some performances and some player stats of how good they played. Yeah, and we'll talk about a few things, of course. And yeah, we'll go through some things basically. So let's start with what Daniel Fark had to say. Let me just get the chat up and then we can go through it. And then let's talk about what Daniel Fark had to say. So we are here. And yeah, so Daniel Fark, what he had to say after the game, after the draw. So yeah, Daniel Fark started with compliments to my players. Sorry about that. He said compliments to my making sure everything's working right. Yep. He said compliments to my players. Another day proved why I would trust my boys with my life. I can always count on them. Not flawless, of course. That's why we're a newly promoted team. But how we adapted to strange decisions. That mentality had more XG than than the 11-man team, of course, of Crystal Palace. Daniel Fark went on to say, if we had played with 11, we could have won the game. In these circumstances, a priceless point, clean sheet, valuable point, edging closer to what we need to achieve, which is of course survival. And I agree with that. I mean, if DCL scores that penalty, the red card never happens because that doesn't lead up to the yellow card, the second yellow on Goodmanson. You know, if I already said this, if I was looking at both fouls, the BL one's more of a yellow card than the Goodmanson one. I don't think either of them are, but if you're gonna look at one of them that should have been a second yellow, it's probably the BL one over the Goodmanson one. So yeah, if you're going to look at either of them, like if you're going to look at either of them for a second yellow card and to be sent off, I thought the BL one, he was going to get a second yellow more than the Goodmanson one. I thought the Goodmanson one was just stupid refereeing, of course, because apparently the ref didn't even know he already booked him, which crazy. That's crazy. Daniel Fark went on to say, not sure if words are needed because everyone in the stadium has the same view. Doubtful if it was even a foul. But I saw the replay. I was like, is it even a foul? He has forgotten this player was already on a yellow. Compares the situation with Johnson's foul in the second half too. And I mean, Brennan Johnson's first tackle should have been a yellow card when he hacks Goodmanson down when Goodmanson almost breaks free. You know, it's one of those tackles where it's a lazy tackle. He just sliced his leg at him and he's taking him out. For me, that's a yellow card. And because it's the first foul and very early on in the game, in the first half, that's why it wasn't a yellow card, apparently. That's like the only reason why I would say, oh, it's not a yellow because he didn't want to give a yellow too early. But that's a yellow card. I mean, Brennan Johnson should have been sent off in the second half at some point, but never got that second yellow card and then they took him off. And maybe him not getting that second yellow card was actually a good thing. Like, you can look at it in two ways. Should have been sent off, but the good thing is him not getting sent off led to him being offside for the goal they actually scored. So if you're not on the pitch and they had a red card, maybe they score that goal and whoever's there taking the corner gets himself onside. I'm not saying that would have happened, of course, because it would have been a completely different game, and I think it would have been back to a normal game, of course, with, 10v10. But yeah, it's one of those things about... it's one of those things where it's the consistency in football. It's the consistency. And this is the third game in a row where the referees have done this. You know, the Man City game, of course, we should have had a penalty. You know, you can even say it's the fourth game in a row. I mean, I forgot the Cup game as well. You know, Metro should have had a penalty, but we won that game, so it's not really going to be talked about a lot. But it is one of those things about the frustrations of how can these referees be this bad? Like, how are the referees this bad every single week? And it's not just Leeds. You know, I spoke about other decisions in games that I've watched. Like, I go back to the Arsenal-Chelsea game where Chelsea should have had 2 penalties, in my opinion, and they didn't get them. You know, it's just incompetent refereeing. And, you know, it's just annoying because when he got the second yellow card, it's annoying because you look at that and you're like, it's not even a foul. Like, for me, it wasn't even a foul. It's one of those unlucky ones where he's like, he might have tapped his foot, but it's not a card. Maybe you do give a foul, but it's never a yellow card. It's never a yellow card. And you look at some of the tackles that Brennan Johnson did when he was on a yellow card, like later on in the game in the second half, of course. Definitely should have had that red card. Definitely should have. Daniel Fark then went on to say, where is it? Daniel Fark went on to say, where did I lost it? Daniel Fark on his yellow card. Fourth official came to me because, of course, Daniel Fark and, Danny Fuck and Glasner both got booked at this stage. Our fourth official came to me and said both benches were emotional. I'm complaining about the situation. They had to book Oliver and I because they couldn't identify who was the first to come off the bench, which is the dumbest thing ever. That, in my opinion, that is actually the dumbest thing. So both managers got booked, got yellow cards because, oh, I don't know who started it. But if like, can managers not complain? Like, is that something managers can't complain anymore? They can't yell A or whatever, because. And if it was any manager, it probably would have been Glasner who was first. And I think it was because it was the BL tackle, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. I think it was the BL tackle. The BL like elbow where he does hit him in the face. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he does hit Sarr in the face. But that's where it came from. Glasner's the first one to react. Of course he is. And it's just weird. Like, managers can't do that. I mean, they shouldn't be booked in the first place anyway. They didn't say anything bad. They didn't do anything like go out their technical area like a certain manager does every single game week. And he's allowed to do it every single game. It's honestly just stupid. That, in my opinion, shouldn't be booked either. Like, Glasner shouldn't have been booked. Fark shouldn't have been booked. It's just dumb. Refs are terrible this year, but have been bad for us over the past 3 weeks. Yeah, it's just been crazy. Even even the cup game, as I said, even the Norwich game, you look at that game and see some of the decisions in that game and how we didn't get a single penalty in that game where we could have had probably 2. And it's just crazy that this is happening, and this is happening to us in a massive part of the season, especially like this is a massive part of the season. We are legit, in a relegation battle. I'm talking about this game. We get a red card at halftime in a massive game where if results didn't go our way, we could have legit been at the end of this week tying on points with the bottom 3. Like, we could have been on the same points as West Ham with the bottom 3. If results didn't go our way. Now, of course, nothing happened. We're 1 game closer with 8 games to go, and nothing changed because every team drew. Every team got a point, including Spurs, who drew against Liverpool, because Liverpool are hopeless and can't beat Spurs. I could not believe when they actually equalised and Richarlison scored that goal. I just kind of laughed because I could not believe it. But yeah, every single team drew in the relegation battle, including like Burnley drew to Bournemouth. I mean, Burnley are done, but they drew to Bournemouth. And then, yeah, you had West Ham drawing with City. We drew with Palce, of course. Forest drew with Fulham, and Spurs drew with Liverpool. So it's as you were, basically, for every single team in the relegation battle with 1 less game to go. We've got 8 games remaining in the Premier League now. The next game against Brentford is going to be a big game, because if we can get 3 points in that game against Brentford and then go into the cup game off the back of a win and, extending that gap. Hopefully, if we win, that means the other teams either draw or lose, and we can extend the gap a bit more and maybe go a bit more full strength in the cup. I mean, I think Vark will do that anyway, because I think you're going to have to. You're going to have to play some of the starters just because we're playing against, West Ham. If we're playing Port Vale, he probably would have put the same team out they did in the Norwich game. But because we got West Ham, I feel like he's going to go a bit stronger with a couple of players. So it'd be nice to get that gap going into that game where we can all be like, okay, we got that gap. We got that gap between us and the bottom 3. Even more, it's a must-win for us next week, and it's gonna be a good game, I think. But I think we're gonna win because it's at home. I back us at home. I know we lost the last 2 games at home, but I still back us at home. It's under the lights as well. The place is gonna be rocking and that. But yeah, there's Opta actually put up a stat saying Leeds United are the only team on record to have a player sent off in the first half and not concede a single shot on target in the same Premier League match since the 2003-2004 season. But like, you look at that stat and you go, we didn't. It was nerve-wracking a lot of that second half, but we didn't concede a single shot on target. The only shot that was on target was the offside, that led to the goal. I mean, Darlow, I thought, made a good save for the first time. I thought he did everything right, with the first save. But luckily, it was offside, and Brendan Johnson was offside. Once that went in, I'm like, oh god, yeah, that's if they did score, it was basically over. Like, we weren't scoring in that game. It was going to end 1-0 to Palace if they did score that goal and it was on the side. And yeah, but yeah, performance-wise, I'm very happy with the defense. I'm happy with, as I said, the defensive players. I thought everyone did their job well. People, I've seen people say things like, oh, we should have brought Dan James on. And I kind of said maybe you bring him on during my watch along, I said bring him on for the final 5 minutes. Because I thought you know, we stay strong defensively and maybe you bring, but then that's a risk as well because you bring Dan James on with the final 5 minutes and then say we concede, then people are going to go, fuck, or why'd you change it? Why'd you go for it? Why didn't you just sit back for the point? But yeah, it's like a, you know, it's a lose-lose situation that, but yeah, I like the fact that Fark just kept the 11 players that played the second half. Of course, the only subs he actually made were on half-time where Metcha came off and Gruev came on, and then Aronson went off and Bogle came on, and I thought Gruev and Bogle both, you know, impacted the game very well and did their job very well when they both did come on. I thought Gruev and Ampadu in that midfield, that defensive block in the midfield, I thought both of them were just stopping passing lane, intercepting it brilliantly, both of them. We'll get into some player performances, but yeah. Would you take an FA Cup win and get relegated or stay up? And lose to, you know, I would take the FA Cup just because I would take a trophy because I don't think like I'm gonna see it. Like I would love it because I just don't know if I'm gonna see a trophy in my life. Like what you'll remember is winning the FA Cup. Like you think Wigan Athletic would, you know, get their FA Cup away if it means they're in the Premier League? I don't think they would. That like. It's just one of those things that I just want to see us win like a big trophy, like an FA Cup or, you know, even a Carabao Cup. Like I've said this, I would love just a Carabao Cup in my lifetime. You know, of course things can change in like, you know, 10 years time, we could be battling for Europe and stuff and things could change and I'll be like, yeah, let's go for the FA Cup and let's go and try and win the Europa League and we might be up there. But as it stands right now, with what I've seen my entire life as a Leeds fan, which is League One Championship football, I would absolutely love an FA Cup, you know, and if we get relegated, you know, but you win the FA Cup, you know, you can always come back up to the Premier League, but I've always said this, FA Cup runs depend on the draw, and, you know, you could go the next 5-6 seasons, like we could go the next 5-6 seasons in the third round, drawing Arsenal or Man City every single time and just getting knocked down the third round. So, yeah, probably take the trophy. But it's one of those things about you could do both. Like I'd back us to, like I back us to stay up. I just think we got the squad to stay up just because like individually you probably don't have the squad. Like when you look at the squad, it's probably a bottom 3 squad when you look at individually in each player in each position. But as a team and the way we play, I absolutely love this squad and I think this is good enough to stay in the Premier League. You know, I like how good defensively we are. But yeah, to answer the question, I'd take the FA Cup and get relegated over. But that's just me. But yeah, I back this team to stay up just based off the facts of just how good we are, how solid we are defensively, how solid we've been defensively, you know, everything that we do. Ethan Ampadu is the first player I want to talk about who I gave man of the match. I thought he's absolutely brilliant in this game. Let's see this. He had an accurate passing of 21 out of 30 with 70%. He had passes in his opposition half, 11 out of 18, 61%. Passes in his own half were 10 out of 12, 83%. Long balls accurate were 4 out of 8, so 50%. He had one shot, one block. He had one of his shots blocked. He had 60 touches, one dribble, which was successful. He was fouled 3 times, lost the ball 19 times. Total carrying distance was 41.6 meters. He had 7 carries. And yeah, 9 DEFCONs. So 9 DEFCONs. 3 out of 3 tackles, 1, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 block shots, 3 recoveries, 7 out of 7 ground drills, 1, so he won all of his ground drills. And then in the air, he won 5 out of his 7 aerial drills. So very good at both stages of, you know, aerial and ground drills. He won every single one, basically, besides 2. And he didn't get dribbled past a single time. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, Ethan Ampadu, in that game. I got a player who I thought was a bit shaky very early on for the first 20 minutes in Yakabio. But then I went on to FPL and like checked these DEFCON because I was just checking like DEFCONs of other games. I was like, oh, what are Leeds on? I think it was like 20 minutes in, and the guy had like 8 already. So yeah, he ended the game with 18 DEFCONs, so 18 defensive contributions. He won 2 out of his 4 tackles, 1 interceptions, 13 clearances. He had 3 recoveries, 4 out of 6. He won 4 out of 6 ground drills. He won 1 out of 5 aerial drills. He did get beat in the air a couple of times. Gave away 3 fouls. Accurate passing was 16 out of 20, 80%. Passing in opposition half, 5 out of 8, 63%. Passing in own half, 11 out of 12, 92%. He had 45 touches, 2 unsuccessful touches. He lost the ball 6 times. He had 11 carries. And yeah, he had 2 shots and 1 shot blocked. So yeah, I thought BL overall grew into the game. I thought he didn't start well. Honestly, I thought he was a bit shaky. At like first 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, he's so shaky, and it just looked like Stratton Larson was going to get the better of him in this game. But then BL in that second half, I thought after that 20 minutes kind of area, he looked way better. And then in the second half, I thought he looked a lot better. I thought he just improved. And that was the same with Strauch for me. He started off as a player who was a bit shaky early on, but then kind of grew into the game. So yeah, those two. And then I go into the midfield, Anton Stack. I thought he was good. I thought he was good. He's not going to be going forward as much if we do play the two up top, of course, because he's not the number 10. He's going to be playing a bit deeper, but I like him defensively. I think he's good defensively. And he causes a threat when he does win the ball, because like he can steal the ball off one of their attackers and all of a sudden counter-attack himself, because he's got that to be, be on both ends. Very good defensively, but can also be dangerous in the attack. So yeah, he's a good player to have in that position, in my opinion. He had 3 key passes. He had 5 2 out of 5 of his crosses were accurate, so his crossing wasn't great. His accurate passes were 10 out of 23, 43%, so his passing wasn't great in this game, like, either. But most of those passes were just launching it forward when, when we have a red card and then we're down a man as well. I'm not really going to go, oh my god, your passing was shit. But yeah, passing in opposition half was 7 out of 17, 41%. Passing in his own half were 3 out of 6, 50%. Long balls accurate were 2 out of 5, 40%. One shot on target, which, yeah, it went straight to the keeper, but it wasn't a bad effort. It was one of those where it wasn't a bad effort if it, like, went further into the corner. Not a bad idea. Like, he just smashed it. 44 touches, 2 unsuccessful touches. He lost the ball 19 times. He had 3 carries, 8 defcons. He won 1 out of 2 of his tackles, 1 interceptions, 4 clearances, one block shot, 4 recoveries. He won only 2 of his 7 ground duels, but he won 3 out of 5 of his aerial duels. He gave away 1 foul and got dribbled past 3 times. And those moments where he got dribbled past were all very early on in the game. I'm pretty sure they were all very early on in the game. I thought Metch had a good performance as well up top. Let's see his stats. Because I thought he was good up top. I thought DCL was absolutely off it. And the worst player on the pitch for us. But I thought Metch was very good. I thought Metch actually had a good performance. He had 10 touches, and again, he only played 45 minutes. That, like, in that second half, I would have kept Metcher on and brought DCL off based off how well each of them were performing. I'm not really going to go into Metcher's stats, actually, as he only played the first half, really. Well, actually, I'll look at it. Let's see. He had 10 touches, 1 out of 1 dribble successful. He was fouled once, gave away the ball 7 times, which are mostly just launch it long, and he just, he tried to take a touch, and his touch sometimes isn't the best, but sometimes it's very difficult to bring it down. He had 3 carries. Oh my god, he's passing. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna get much passing when we're just launching it long. He won 1 out of 1 of his ground duels, 2 out of 7 of his aerial duels. But I thought overall, like, the eye test wise, Metcher was very good. I actually want to see Gruev, because I thought he was very good when he came on. I want to see Gruev's stats, because I thought he was good when he came on defensively. Let's see his defensive stats. Defending. He had 2 defcons. 1 block shot, 1 out of 1 aerial ground duels, 1. 0 out of 1 aerial duels, 1. But, like, again, stats don't prove everything. I thought he was great. And yeah, it's one of those things about, I think the subs were right by Daniel Fark. He went with the right starting 11, in my opinion, the right formation, the subs at halftime. You could argue maybe someone else should have come on as well, or this player or that player, but I thought he got it right with Bogle and Gruev at the end of the day, because I thought they both come on and impacted the game very well defensively. And yeah, it was just one of those games where once you knew at halftime we're just going to be trying to hold on for the point, and we did very well to actually manage to hold on to the point. And I'm happy for the lads. I'm happy that we were able to keep that point, to get the point at the end of the game, because you just knew that this game was going to be a very tough game to actually be able to get the point. And I'm happy that we did. We managed to hold on. But yeah, squad-wise, very happy with the performance. Annoyed at the ref yet again. I mean, how many times have we said we've been annoyed at the referee? Like, bad performances by the referees. I mean, you can count on every single hand that you have of how many times referees have been absolutely shit for us this season, and it's cost us points and cost us, moments in games, and it's so frustrating because we could have more points than what we should be on, really. Especially in the last couple of games. You look at, as I said, the Man City game. I mean, I don't know how we don't get a penalty in that game. What was it? The Sunderland game. Don't know how we don't get a penalty in that game either. You know, it's just frustrating. Um, and yeah, but overall happy with the performance from the team. And, you know, the fact that, like, you know, you're not going to see all these players play every game, but Fuck has trusted his squad. We basically got a fully fit squad besides Okafor, who, when he comes back, hopefully he delivers, because, you know, he was very good in, like, for, like, 3 games. You know, I think people are a bit overrating him because I think he was good in the last couple of games, like the last 3 games. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. But I do think that you have to look at the entire season. He's been, you know, he's been off it for most of the season. Maybe he found a bit of form. The annoying thing is he finds this bit of form and now he's injured again, you know. That's the frustrating thing. He finds a bit of form that you want to see from him, and then all of a sudden he's injured, and you're just wondering if when he comes back, will he be the player that when he left, or will he be the player before where he was really, you know, not playing great and, you know, didn't give us what we probably expected from him when we signed him. But yeah, in the last couple of games, you know, it was one of the things where in the last couple of games that Okafor has played him, he's given us what we basically thought we were going to get with the signing. But it is hopefully, you know, hopefully he comes back with that. I mean, them celebrating, the way they celebrate the red card, the funniest thing, because that happens, and then they can't even score against 10-man Leeds United, and they drew 0-0. So that's funny in the end. I don't like the way he celebrated. Like, I would be fine if he went like that. Like that wouldn't bother me. That would not bother me if he just went like that. Like he gave it a little fist pump of like, yes, because someone's sent off. Because I mean, there's a player on their team sent off because that's an advantage for your team. But he celebrates like it was a goal. He celebrates like it was like a massive goal and like they were winning the game and all that. I mean, if you, as I said, if you go like that and just give it like a little yes, that's fine for me. But it's the way he reacted. He overreacted, and then they couldn't even score against us with the 10 men. But yeah, Leeds United, I'm happy with the performance. As I said, we move on to the next game against Brentford, which is going to be a tough game. As I said, it is under the lights at Ellen Road, so I'm hoping that we can, you know, win the game and get some momentum also going into the cup game. That'll be nice. Get some momentum going into the game against West Ham. But yeah, happy with the squad, happy with the performance, and the way that we have, you know, you have all these players on the bench who can come on, who didn't even come on, you know, Bornell, Longstaff, Tanaka, James, Nonto, Pirro. When Okafor comes back, I'm pretty sure, I don't know who drops off the bench, basically. Probably Pirro. I feel, but Bornell will be on the bench because you need that centre-back cover on the bench. Perry, of course, you need your goalkeeper. Bogle and Gruev are not going to come off the bench. Longstaff isn't. Tanaka isn't. James, Nonto, Pirro, one of them will have to come off the bench, like not be in the squad. If Okafor comes back and everyone's fit. So when I look at it, I'll probably say Pirro, but Fuck will probably look at that and say, well, he's our only other striker, but I would rather Metcha, Okafor. I mean, at this stage, I would rather Gruev up top, to be honest, than Pirro. I'm sorry, he was never going to be good enough for the Premier League. And I said that when we got promoted, he was never going to be good enough. He's just not good enough for this level because physicality-wise, he's not at the standard of the Premier League. Pace-wise, he's too slow for the Premier League. He's built for, like, you know, he's a good footballer and he's a good finisher and he's a good striker. Like, he can finish. He's perfect for, like, another league. He's not perfect for, like, the Premier League. But, yeah, I'm happy with this. As I said, it's just good that we have options and players that can come in. You know, you have competition now. I know Goodmanson will miss the next game, which means it'll be Bogle and Justin as your 2 fullbacks. But the competition that we have a fullback is very good. I like the fact that we got a competition between Goodmanson, James Justin, and Bogle. That's good. Now we have that competition between all 3 of the fullbacks. Probably the best position-wise, you know, we got cover. You know, probably the best position that we got, like, big competition is the fullback position, which is nice. And yeah, hopefully we go into Brentford game and we get 3 points and everyone else around us lose. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the stream. I'm going to head out now. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We are on the road to 1,200 subscribers. If you're watching this live or if you're watching this after it's live, thank you guys for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one.